the blackness of the night, shimmering with busy stars. I will be the twinkling of their lights. I will be the waking of the dawn, and burst forth with the warming rays of friendship. I will be the shepherd of stray souls, or the humblest lamb in all his fold, the most famous man, or the least known of a cycle. I will be the tiniest cosmic spark, or roll as the mighty vapors of life, dashing my power-fed soul against the rocks of worldly strife. I will be the clouds donning rainbow garlands. I will puff bubbles of planets with my breath and float them on the waves of space. I will be the babbling of the brook and the voice of the nightingale. As emotion waves, I will surge in the seas of souls. Holding to the log of laughter, I will float to the shores of bliss. I will sing through the voices of all. I will preach through all temples and prayers. I will love with the love of God. I will think with the thoughts of all. The hearts of all will be my heart. The souls of all will be my soul. And the smile of all, my smile. From time to time, we read about or hear about something quite unusual. And so I'll share this unusual story, a true story, with you all. This is, again, in deep appreciation for this very special day, Swami Kriyananda's Mahasamadhi. We built some time back, perhaps you've seen pictures or maybe even in person in California at Ananda village, a mandir for Swami, Mahasamadhi Mandir. And so in the process of building, there was a contractor, and he wasn't affiliated with Ananda, but became curious about this building because it has an unusual shape to it. It's very beautiful. And so he was wondering what was it for? And so the architect brought him on over and showed him a picture of Swami Kriyananda, and he said, well, this is our spiritual teacher. He passed some time back, and so this is, again, his Samadhi Mandir. And the contractor was shocked because he said, I just saw him walking over there. And from time to time, there are those stories, as Master said, for those who think me near, I will be near. And it's not unusual, as Swami Kriyananda, in reading the path for the first time many, many years ago, on page 8, it was Lahiri Mahashaya materializing in a wheat field, and he didn't know what to think of that, so he had to put it on the shelf. He was only 22, it was too much for him. But this particular path, as it's true of all true paths, will have these stories to inspire us that there is a rainbow bridge, so to speak, from this world to the astral world. And it gives us hope and encouragement that, again, as Swami Kriyananda said, we're as old as God. And we read in the autobiography of a yogi that incredible chapter of the resurrection of Sri Yukteswar. And we, bit by bit, begin to find within our heart and our soul that this dearest yearning of our heart to awaken from this dream really is attainable even in this lifetime. Many years ago, we went with Swami Kriyananda, which we would do from time to time with hundreds of disciples, down to Los Angeles. And we went to the Biltmore Hotel, where Yogananda had his Mahasamadhi, March 7th of 1952, and Swami Kriyananda was there on that occasion. And Swami always was a very, very private regards his own spiritual life. When people would put him up on a pedestal, he would say, "I've just been at it longer." That was his explanation. "I've just been at it longer." Very, very sweet way to describe, the attainment that he had and that he was well aware of, because even as a young boy, he said, "I always was fully myself." And if you see in The Path, his autobiography, you see him as a young boy, perhaps he's 5 or 6 years old, and he just looks like he is already there. There's this beautiful photograph of him, and it really makes one appreciate that he really came in with this spiritual blessing, this spiritual power, which Yogananda recognized at a glance. And so Swami, when we were with him at this particular time, he said, "You are very fortunate to have a direct disciple." And I thought, my, he's just never said anything like this. Never. And he was, again, giving us a bit of a wake-up call that in this life, we should count our blessings and skip the rest. And we have these great masters, and we have a disciple that Yogananda said he would find God in this lifetime, and he did. That's why we're celebrating his Mahasamadhi. And yet at the same time, it makes it a little bit easier, perhaps, for us when we see a soul of this caliber struggling. Life is a struggle for joy. All along the way, may I fight to win the battle on the very spot where I now am. That's from Yogananda. Wonderful, wonderful words to memorize. And so Swami Kriyananda really had to battle his way through, really to the very, very end. I think of just maybe months, maybe a year before, he said, "I think I'm a little bit crazy." He was perhaps 85 at this time. Maybe he was 86 just before his Mahasamadhi. He said, "I think I must be a little crazy. I've never worked so hard in my life. This is the time when people mostly go find a porch or something and enjoy themselves." And everyone laughed in appreciation that, as Yogananda said, "I want to die with my boots on," and meaning the last breath serving. And so Swami was, of course, cut out of that same cloth. "I must be a little bit crazy." And as Yogananda said, we are all crazy. But for us, thankfully, at this point in our evolution, more and more, we're crazy with God. As most people are crazy for this world, we're crazy for God. And that's why we have to spend time with one another, because we understand each other's craziness. A lot of people, even those who love us, they don't understand where we're coming from. Detachment, and speaking of reincarnation, even here in India, karma, all those things, guru. And yet we know that this is such a blessing to be at this point in our evolution where we really, really prize the inner life and understand that the more we meditate, it's really in a way like a shock therapy. Every single time, in the positive sense, every single time we meditate, we get this shock, as Yogananda talked about, the liberating shock of omnipresence. We're really getting a little bit of a shock. And what is this shock doing for us? Smriti, memory. It's reminding us of who we are. And Seva does the same. It gives us this shock of memory. And we spend time with one another. It gives us this shock of remembrance. And bit by bit, we start to find that the inner life is beginning to become alive. And it doesn't take much introspection to see that we really, really need this shock therapy daily. As much as we can remember God, there's this volt that comes, this voltage from up high and from within that stirs us to greater commitment, that stirs us to work on keeping our heart open at all times, no excuses, to keep our mind right, and that the time goes by very quickly, and so we don't want to waste our time. And so we just got out of seclusion, and again, those of you that are interested in seclusion, there is an art to it. There's the art to beginning to prepare to go into seclusion. There's the art of being in seclusion, and there's the art of leaving seclusion. It's all an art, and it takes a little bit of time to get used to, but what did Yogananda say? Seclusion is the price for greatness. Why? Because when you're in seclusion, you take a big pair of golden scissors and snip away for a time, half a day, longer if you can, all of these commitments. Everything is put to the side, and this is the time to spend with God in meditation, in spiritual reading. And so for me, it's been a tradition for a long time to read The Path, Swami Kriyananda's autobiography, which I did again in this seclusion. And I love part one. There's something about part one which describes, before he got on the path, the struggles that he went through. And yet he was so tenacious. And he said he was desperate, absolutely desperate for an awakening. And he was very bright, truly brilliant. And so in a way, it made it even more difficult for him because his mind would stray here and there as he was trying to find his way. And then he found the autobiography of the yogi. That was it. And he came to Yogananda, and his first words were, "I want to be your disciple." And that was what he was for us and continues to be. He said, everybody else wants to be a guru. I just want to be a good disciple. And that was such a blessing and continues to be, because these great ones, they're not limited to their bodies. They leave their bodies at one point, of course, but does that mean that they're absent from this world? That's why I love the story of that contractor. He wasn't even on the path. I just got done seeing him. I just got done seeing him. And perhaps that contractor's life was changed forever. But for us, we need to deeply, deeply appreciate these times like today, where we celebrate Swami Kriyananda's Mahasamadhi, in that it will help us go deep, perhaps shock us into taking another step, because it takes courage. It really does. It takes courage to continue to go deeper and deeper and deeper, knowing that Divine Mother is with us, the gurus are with us, and we will find our way, guaranteed. Every single one of us, we will find our way and awaken, hopefully, in this life. So God bless you all, and happy Mahasamadhi. And we look forward to all of our Mahasamadhis, because that is there for us. It's awaiting us, a moment in time. That's something that is guaranteed.